Tonight, another mind on our education challenge.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Well, amidst learning today that the Providence Union president, the teacher union president, yesterday tried to get into some schools just to take a little tour. Of course, she was tugging around some reporters, but she was told no at the front door of two schools. It just adds to the acrimony, and as the clock ticks toward opening day for the 2019-2020 school year, we don't know a doggone thing about how any remediation plan is working, if at all, in the Providence school system. Just, it's really disgraceful leadership, and I really think that this mayor needs an examination of multiple levels by multiple smart people, because I don't know how in heaven's name you could suffer the report from Johns Hopkins University and not come up with a completely transparent triage plan, not for the capital improvements that are oh so necessary for those schools, but for the little things, you know, like the rodents and the urine smell and the brown water and the broken windows and that kind of little stuff. Anyway, welcome aboard. We're going to talk a little bit about that, maybe from a broader perspective, with our guest this evening, who you shall be introduced to momentarily. In the meantime, it is debate season, way too early. It's like selling bathing suits during Christmas. You know, we don't know what retail season is what anymore. We don't know what political season is what anymore either. The Democratic debate lines up for fireworks. Okay, I guess so. The idea that you've got to pare down some 20 candidates to whatever is a feasible number sooner than later is something the Democrats better have dawned on them. And we will see 10 tonight, and if you're watching this at midnight, maybe you saw 10 tonight. CNN's got the double feature tonight and tomorrow night. And Joe Biden continues to have a sizable lead. This time he's going to have to look like he's semi-prepared, and he'll probably do okay. In the meantime, locally, this headline struck my interest. The former Hasbro chief, Alan Hassenfeld, has weighed into this multi-billion-dollar controversy that exists between IGT and the holding company for Twin River. Twin River has recently decided that they want to get into the business of having their own machines inside the facilities in Lincoln and in Tiverton. What most of you don't know, and I continually remind you of this, Twin River is really a commissioned sales product for the VLT, the video slots, that the lottery runs. The lottery runs gaming in the state for all intents and purposes, at least when it comes to automated gaming. Twin River is paid a commission to house them. Now, Twin River has been able to expand their space by running table games and the like, and so we've got this very strange hybrid which infringes a lot, I think, on the constitutional allowances that we have relied on for a long time here regarding gaming. That Twin River is now trying to put a move on IGT, formerly GTech, now an international company that supplies 85% of the machines in the facilities, is a really interesting high money drama. You can determine for yourself who's smart and who's not, but Alan Hassenfeld is trying to weigh in saying, look, they need consultants to objectively look at this. Okay, and he said if we can't afford it, then he'll pay for it. Not okay. Not okay. If the state of Rhode Island and the taxpayers' interests require consultation, then the state taxpayer should pay for it. Simple as that. Alan seems like a great guy, always has been. But we don't need his charity. His opinion is always welcome. We'll try to get him in here next week on this. I guess he's not available this week. But on Monday of next week, Robert Vincent, the chairman of IGT, will be here to at least talk about his perspective. We may get a return call from the folks at Twin River. The management team at Twin River locally is phenomenal. Its marketing arm is, let's just say, difficult to deal with, and we shall see. In the meantime, here's a website run by my guest this evening, Mr. Thomas Iannitti, a former policy guy for the state Senate years ago, a West Warwick School Committee member. And we're going to start with this conversation that I began with today, and that is the school takeover. Headlines like this have just permeated our media space over the last month or so. Tom, welcome to the broadcast. Nice to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
You have, in all transparency, been petitioning some space and time on forums like this to express yourself. You've built this website, thiswayri.com. Tell me about the website and why it's called that.
Little backstory. So, elected when I was 26 to the West Warwick School Board. I was out at school in Montana. Called home, said, Dad, I want to run for public office. Tuition's too high here. I'm going to transfer to URI. He said, what do you want to run for? I said, Secretary of State, of course, right? He ran for Secretary of State and lost. He said, start lower on a school board. So I started lower on a school board. Fell in love with education policy. Flash forward, met a girl, moved to California, past 12 years, been there, never stopped paying attention to Rhode Island, love it, the whole family's here. Got home, said, I'm going to run for office again. We need leadership. I see a void. There's some smart people, but I see a leadership void. And so you brainstorm, you think of all these things, and it's me saying, come this way, Rhode Island. Come this way. Come with me into the future. And I think I've laid out some policy initiatives, some broad, some more specific, that could lead us into a better future.
So I didn't realize, is this the launch of some campaign?
Am I announcing my run for governor on the Dan York Show?
I didn't know that was in your thought process.
I'm going to run for governor. This could be considered a soft announcement. That's not my plan here today. Like my wife said to me, look, just Dan seems like a cool guy. Go in, talk with him. You're filled with these ideas about education. You know what you're talking about. And so my focus here today is talk about education. And so, I'll talk to you about anything you want about education in Rhode Island.
Well, I can't avoid the political conversation, so let's get that out of the way. Have you formed an organization?
No.
You're committed to the idea that you are running for the governor's spot in 2022.
I've met with a few people. When I first got back, I met with Neil Steinberg because I see him as a major influencer in the state. And I like what he does with the foundation. So he took a meeting with me and we met, and I asked him if I could participate.
Not everybody knows. Neil Steinberg is the executive director of the Rhode Island Foundation, which is the top philanthropic organization here in the state.
Right, and I think he does good work. The foundation's great. So my goal with him was, hey, can I work with your education group that you've formed? And I think he recognized it was a little bit of a political entity. And so he said, at this time, thank you, we're not going to do that. But we talked about a host of issues. Great guy. He spent an hour and a half with me. And then I met with Joe Paolino. Again, he's got the best view in Providence. Great guy, very learned, and he knows the ins and outs of everything. So I've started to meet with some people just to kind of get a feeling. And I told Joe this, and I said, Joe, he was drinking a bottle of water, and I looked at him and I said, Joe, you're going to run for governor? And I think he swallowed hard a little bit, finished his water, and he said, I've thought about it. I said, I'm going to run for governor. He almost spit his water out, right? So he knew my dad, and the family goes way back, and really looked up to him growing up and whatnot. But I said, Joe, I'm going to run for governor, but if you run for governor, I won't run for governor. I'll support you.
So the brokering has begun.
Yeah, and I don't know if
unbeknownst to Mr. Paolino.
Yeah, I don't know if he knew we were brokering.
Who was here last week. Check foxprovidence.com for his thoughts on the Providence school system thing. All right, what are you doing for a living?
I sell real estate in California. I write. And when I'm not selling real estate in California, I'm coaching my kids. I'm being a full-time dad. I'm managing my household affairs.
So you've kept your income stream there while moving back here.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right then. What I thought might be some education shop talk is a soft announcement that we have a new candidate for governor in 2020. You never know what's going to happen on this program. When we come back, we'll dig into some of the meat of the education matter. Stay with us.
it's actually really designed, if you look at some of the regulations that were crafted around it, specific schools, right? The ability to say, boy, Hope High School is really faltering. We got to get in there.
And they went in there and made a little bit of a turnaround and then stopped.
And then it all falls back. This was not, whether it was designed or not, I mean, there's a debate to be had about this, but it does not appear as though, I mean, there's a reason why in the regulations, every page, every reference is about schools, not districts.
So that was Dan McGowan last week. Dan, of course, formerly of Doherty PRI and now the Boston Globe, who's really the lead beat guy on the city of Providence. And he wrote a story, this headline kind of reflects on his angle, which is that he's not exactly sure that the act called the Crowley Act, that is the foundational tool for the Rhode Island Department of Education's new commissioner, Angelica Infante Green, to take over the Providence schools is effective and or legitimate. It was written, God rest him, by Representative Paul Crowley, who was a big education guy. But it was more for triage for a school that was failing more than a district that was failing. And so we really never have seen this before. I absolutely believe that it does not have enough teeth and does not provide that which the commissioner is going to need in terms of authority. But you have thoughts on the Providence schools. Did you mention to me that you actually tried to visit one yourself recently?
I took a visit to VZ Street Elementary. So I grabbed my 11-year-old son. I said, let's go visit some of these schools in Providence. We started with VZ Street. So first of all, when you approach VZ Street, and it's like this in Providence and many of the neighborhoods, you're going through crumbling infrastructure, weed abatement's an issue, graffiti. It's blighted neighborhoods. I mean, they're bad neighborhoods, and I feel bad for the folks that live there. Then you approach the school, and we took some photos outside, and there was some roof work, being done. I think that was part of the original $20 million. That's just your standard work that should be done on schools over the summer.
Yeah,
frankly,
people should know there's a $20 million issuance that the city announced back in the spring with a list of schools and the capital projects that are necessary, and the mayor keeps relying on that number and that list as evidence that he's on top of this. But the stuff that appears in the Johns Hopkins report is well underneath what seems to be the capital improvement thing. It's much more miscellaneous: extermination, quality of water, just urine stench, bathrooms that no one would want to go potty in. It's a real problem.
Right. So when I was on a school board in West Warwick, I was elected at 26. So one of the first things we did were site visits at the schools. And I served with Pat Serper. She's chair of the oversight committee. Great gal. She's an effective public servant. And so we went and visited the schools, and we, teachers approached us, and we, at the time, I mean, this was 15 years ago, the last textbook had Reagan as the president. The schoolyard was a mess. I mean, so we raised heck over it. I mean, and rightfully so. So for me, with Jorge Elorza, I mean, he's 5 years in. Day one, he should go visit his public schools. I mean, I know he said he visited his public schools, but if you're the mayor and you visited those schools, and 5 years later those schools are in this condition, there's a problem. Either you can't see or you're disingenuous.
What happened when you went by the school?
I was met with, so we took pictures, then we went inside, and I buzzed in, and I said, I'm Tom Iannitti, and she said, okay, so we went to go in, and she, very apprehensive right away, and I said to her, I said, I can tell you're super apprehensive. I said, I just want you to know I'm a really nice guy, this is who I am. Gave her my credentials. I said, she's like, what do you want? I said, well, we just want to see the school. And she said, you can't be in here taking pictures. I said, well, there's no students in the school currently, so I am allowed to take photos, just not when students are in school. So I got to call the mayor's office. So she took me and she called the mayor's office, and the mayor's office put her on to the superintendent, and she kept saying to them, there's a guy here, and he says he's a citizen and a taxpayer. And, I've been in public office, and I know how people start to freak out when somebody's like, oh, there's a taxpayer here. It's kind of like, who's the kooky taxpayer guy coming to investigate? And I said, just give him my name. This is who I used to be. I'm not just Mr. off the street. But frankly, I know everybody can't rush the schools, but we should be able to see our public schools. I mean, it's a big deal. So for me, and it says in my website, education's the pillar of our civilization. Think about this. So Providence, Rhode Island graduates about, 10,000 students a year. Every year it's a graduating class. Providence, it's about 1,000 or more. So we're releasing, in the state, 10,000 new citizens among us. Are we equipping them? We're saying to them, look, go ahead, you've matriculated, go be dynamic, socially engaged citizens, be active, civic-minded people, be economic engines for our community. Are we equipping our students in our state the right way? I mean, I'd say no. I think you'd say no. I mean, when kids get out of school, what are they doing? Well, are they ready to go?
Okay, so obviously you've got a lot on your chest.
Yeah. I get wound up about education,
All right,
Dan. It's
so you stopped by
super
the school, you
important.
didn't get to see anything. All right, what is your, and I understand why they'd be hesitant, and I'm not sure what your credentials are for an unannounced visit into the public school systems. We can't have chaos.
Correct,
right?
and none, so I use the word credentials
But
loosely.
anyway,
Right.
obviously. But give me your executive summary, and we'll try to dig in the next segment. What are you trying to say about that school system, its current plight, and the state in general? What are you trying to say?
So here's the thing, and I talked to the commissioner. I went to the last public hearing, and I approached her, and I quietly said to her, very close, I said, look, you're going to encounter considerable resistance at some point. It's going to come from some quarter, but you're
Well,
going
that
to be...
wasn't a bulletin.
Right, no, but and I said, you're going to be at home at night, in bed with your husband. You're going to be going over some stuff. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to want to quit.
That's not a bulletin either.
And I told her, don't quit. And I said, meet me on the other end. I said, there's enough people here who it really matters to who do support you. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease type of thing. You're going to hear the loud voices. Ignore them and keep forging ahead. So for Providence, and this is the issue, in Providence we've got, and I didn't realize the demographics had changed this much until I read the report, which broke my heart, right? So we have a majority Latino population. The majority of those students are economically disadvantaged, right? So it's easy. There's no fruit on the vine in Providence. So we see the effects of a failed system. We see the effects of the core, essential structural failure. The suburban districts, which are more white, more affluent, they can mitigate some of those issues that have shown up in Providence. They throw more money at it. They have two parents at home. They're there to do homework with the kids. That's the whole thing. Providence is suffering. I think Providence is a canary in the coal mine for the rest of the state. Now, is it going to happen 2 years from now for the rest of the state? It may not happen to a catastrophic level that it happened in Providence. But in the rest of the state, you're going to see schools suffer. And there's always going to be a limit to how well our schools could do. Reference our RICAS scores. They're not great. They're never going to be great. So if we go into Providence, we do the state takeover, and we throw a bunch of money at the schools, and everyone's on board, and we create wholesome, caring, super nurturing environments, the kids start to have a cultural change where a lot of the bad eggs even come around, or some are expelled, which I hate to see because everybody has a right and deserves to learn. You're going to see a 10-point bump in RICAS scores. That's it. That's it. That's it. And I get this because I'm sitting in a class at the University of Rhode Island when I was 26 while on a school board, and I'm taking a class, and it's on asylums, written by a sociologist named Irving Goffman. And I'm reading his characteristics of total institutions, how they were applied to, this is my nerdy, wonky side, how they were applied to the mental health industry in the U.S. in the 60s. And I'm like, it's like putting on a pair of glasses and I can see magic ink. From that day forward, every time I looked at a public school, I saw it different than everyone else around me. I saw it different than every one of my colleagues on the school board, than the superintendent, and then every person I ever talked to about education.
Sometimes I get to take the show off when a guest has a stream of conscience moment. When we come back, maybe I'll get some work done. Stay with us.
We have, I think I counted 17 outstanding grievances for physical plant issues, significant physical plant issues that have not been addressed, and we've tried to mediate over the course of the year. And some are so significant that it's lead paint falling from the ceiling. We're in an elementary school where the entire stairwell has to be shut down when it rains, which means that there's only one means of egress out of the building should a fire take place. If it's raining. That should have been a priority.
Mary Beth Calabro, the president of the Providence Teachers Union, who, as I referenced at the top of the show, cold called a couple of the schools and wasn't allowed to make a tour. She had a couple of reporters in tow. I can see why she did that. I mean, if she's asking, she's going to get no. So she showed up and she hoped, and she got no. Tom Iannitti has a website called thiswayri.com. He's made a soft "I want to run for governor" announcement earlier in the show. And I guess for the final 4 minutes, I'd like to have a tangible answer to a simple question. If you were running the show in Providence right now, what would you do?
2 layers. What would I have done? So immediately, and I mean, it seems that there's some, I don't get this because you're a smart guy, and I hear some other folks on the radio, you know what to do, but I don't see leadership doing it. So immediately it should have been triage. It should have been all hands on deck, project manager, maybe even call in the National Guard to get some stuff done. So like I said, those schools, what we're doing now, hopefully, is bringing them up to just a bare minimum. So I write that we deserve better than safe, warm, and dry. So even the $250 million, that we've bonded out, which will be more in the future, that just seeks to create safe, warm, and dry. That's what a mouse seeks.
And $250 million is part of a state campaign.
Right. A state campaign. But that's minimum threshold stuff for schools. Kids deserve
Most of it's
something.
spoken for by other districts at this point.
Right. But I
Providence
think
is included in some of the money.
I think kids deserve something super dynamic. So if it was me, I would have immediately been all hands on deck. I would have walked every school myself. I would have not slept. I would have walked every school myself.
What is your thought on the Crowley Act's toolkit for the takeover? Do you think that the state should take over the system?
So, not going to pretend I know the nuances of the Crowley Act. This I'll admit to you when I don't know. I don't know. I'll go look at it. But I do know what the effect it has, and in absence of other tools, I mean, we've seen, and I'm not trying to indict the Providence City Council, I know some folks there and the school board, but that's the tool we have right now. So yes, the school needs to be taken over, the schools need to be taken over by the commissioner. I think it's a big deal because the commissioner is not from here, so you need to have somebody who's from here with incredible courage to say no to some very important and powerful people, or say to some important and powerful people, we're making changes, or someone from the outside who doesn't know any better. I know she's quickly learning that she should know better, but she just needs to keep forging ahead. So those schools need to improve rapidly. I don't think it's going to get done before school starts. I don't know what the next move.
You mean the physical plants need to
Physical
improve?
plant,
Rapidly?
I don't think that's going to get done. Think about the enormity and the scope of that Johns Hopkins report. Think about how grave it was. Unless it was hyperbolic, like Nick Heyman said, hey, this is somewhat, anecdotal. So, but for me, it's that don't poo-poo what this report says. That's a legitimate operation. Some very smart people went in there. They were moved emotionally and intellectually to say this is one of the worst districts in the country ever. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, and it's going to take a big deal to get it to a minimum threshold where we could. If I had a kid in Providence, they wouldn't be going back to school in September.
ThisWayRI.com is the website. Give it a read. Tom has a lot to say. And we'll see where you are as a voice in the community on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You bet. Final word when we come back. And so therein lies the challenge in some ways. At least we're seeing new faces pop up with energy. Energy is important. Honing message is really more important. And it just goes to show you that you got to get the people with the big bucks, professionalism to come in here and figure out what to do with a place like the Providence Schools. Hopefully the commissioner is up to the task. The Lieutenant Governor on that and more tomorrow. We'll talk to you on the radio at 3 until 6 on WPRL. Good night.